Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Have you subscribed? Yes, you. Have you subscribed? You. Yeah. Before you go, click. It's free. Click. Just that's it. Have you subscribed? You are laughing. Have you subscribed? Have you subscribed? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, madam. Thank you so much. I can see you. I can see you. We have to get to 100,000 subscribers. This by the end of the year. How are we going to do that if you don't subscribe? Yes, you. Yes, you're about to click off. Why? Have you subscribed? It's free. If you don't, ask your son, ask your daughter how to. Just one click. Thank you. Thank you. I see you. Aha. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your geographical location. Welcome to this very first Sunday service of this month, as we will be doing looking at the scriptures to help us a segment. We're starting here as well to hopefully it will go on for as long as it takes for us to get there. You can see what is highlighted on the screen. We are made to understand that the purpose of recorded event in the Bible is that we may learn what? Learn from it. And the topic is for what? For our learning. This is not theology. I don't do theology. I just do what I read in the Bible. There's nothing as annoying when you know very well uh, the individual or individuals that inflicted pain on you, and you are expected or required not to take revenge, not to take revenge, and that is what we will be looking at today. And I'm going to put out the link there for those who want to join this conversation. And I hope it brings solace to listeners, those who are listening now, and those who are listening to it later on. Again, I'll repeat: there's nothing as sad when you know, or painful when you know that this individual or individuals inflicted pain on you, and they thought or they probably get away with it. And as such, this recorded event is for us what? To learn from it, not to repeat the same mistake, and not to be that same people as well, too, or individuals as well, too. And we will be looking at the case of a man who harbored so much hatred in his heart uh, because he felt betrayed by his what? By his closest friend, and the pain, he carried it for years. He carried it for years, which brings us to this particular statement here. Only fools keep anger alive in their bosom until it incites what? To take revenge. You find that in Ecclesiastes 7:9. The wisest man, or one of the wisest men that ever lived on earth, which is Solomon, is the one that referenced to make this statement. Only fools keep anger alive in their bosom until it decides to take revenge. Does that mean that we are not allowed to get angry? Absolutely not. It's part of our faculty, or part of us that God has put in us. We are allowed to get angry. But keeping it there or leaving it there and not walking away from it, that is where the problem lies. And as such, it often leads to what? to revenge. Sometimes we just have to walk away when the thing is no longer suitable for us. And there is no point also humiliating that individual. But this particular individual is offended or got offended. And please, let's state it here, every one of us, at the end of the day, you may find a similarity about you in this individual that I will be talking about. He got his family, one of a member of his family. Well, I won't say direct family, but his daughter-in-law. His daughter-in-law was injured, was abused. I'm sorry, his granddaughter was abused, and his son-in-law was killed by his own closest friend. By his own closest friend, very close. He gives advice to his friend. They probably eat on the same table. And for that reason, he plots a revenge over time. That is the here we have. And that is, if you look at the thumbnail, it said, it gives strength, unfailing strength to bear it. So whatever injured or injury we may have suffered, there is what an unfailing strength from God for us to bear it. That is the core of this podcast here. God gives unfailing strength to bear whatever injury we may have suffered, directly or directly from particularly from a loved one, because truth be told, it's only a loved one that will really injure us so bad that what we will not want to let go. Strangers, probably, you will. Some are intentional, some are unintentional. But injury is injury. It is the recipient that feels it. And but the giver is another issue. So we'll look at it in order for us not to harbor anger in us. This have led to many people uh, being being killed today just because of anger. The faculty to get angry, let's state the fact here, is put in us by God, not by any other person. However, we have to learn to manage that faculty by not allow anger to continue in us or to reside in us uh, to the extent that we will take revenge. Like I said, his son-in-law was killed. His daughter, his granddaughter was abused. So it took time to revenge this what? This culprit. But as we know, vengeance only belongs to one person, and which is God. He has the exclusive right what? To revenge. I don't. You shouldn't either. And while this bitterness and anger are acknowledged, we must not let the sun go down on it, the literal sun go down on it. And the person I'm talking about is Ahithophel. Ahithophel was a good friend, not just a good friend, he was also an advisor to what? To David, King David. And as such, the atrocity that David committed against Bathsheba and Uriah is where we are today to talk about. Rather than him resting on that unfailing strength that God, his provision of that of God's unfailing strength, he took matters into his hand. And if you read the description very well, I think I have to read it again. The description clearly tells us one thing that we have to understand and what and imbibe in us. I'm going to read the description again, which it's very for us to observe. While we cultivate our relationship with God, we must not impose it on others. Acting in a way that is inconsistent with what we believe or I believe by trying to impose my opinions on others and other days trying to please them. Certainly, this is what out of line, as true faith radiates without needing to push. On the flip side, this is very important. We should consider it fortunate when our behavior aligns with what? With our belief. We should consider it fortunate when our behaviors align with our belief. It shouldn't get into our head. And that is why it is important we avoid, if possible, doing theology and actually look at historical accounts of events that happen and see and bring it to modern day, because whatever event that happens historically will happen. Like Solomon said, there's nothing new on the planet Earth. Nothing is absolutely new. It's the same thing. It keeps recycling itself over time. So Ahithophel was what? Was a counselor and advisor to David. And it is recorded that whatever advice he gives is like an oracle, one who has gone to consult the oracle. You see, he is also not immune from anger. So no matter how fortunate we find ourselves that our belief, our behavior is consistent with our belief, we are not immune from anger. We are not immune from hatred. As long as we don't allow it to we abhor it inside of us, then we will live above it. Uriah was what? Was a son-in-law to Ahithophel, who married his granddaughter. Uriah and what? And what? And Bathsheba husband were what? Were in the military together. One of the hierarchies of David's army, including Joab. These individuals knows what happened. So the message was fitted into Ahithophel's ear, and he embarked on taking revenge on what? On David. Again, let's get this straight. That what? That the exclusive right to revenge belongs to God. It doesn't belong to anyone at all. It doesn't belong to me. It doesn't belong to you. So we must avoid treading that path, that direction of wanting what? To revenge. Sometimes we just have to walk away from that relationship. Am I an advocate of that? Definitely not. However, if you go through the scripture very well, sometimes you just have to walk away from that relationship. If it's coming to a point where you start to harbor anger and hatred and bitterness, because at the end of the day, you are not doing yourself any good. You are not doing the person who hurt you any good. You are not doing anyone any good at that time. So imagine yourself in that position of what? Of Ahithophel. Certainly, I will be angered to death to find out that my close friend. Have I betrayed people before? Of course. Have I betrayed someone before? Of course. Have you betrayed people before? Of course. Have you betrayed someone before? Of course. At a point in our life, we may have betrayed someone, let them down. And we now do that to others. And we expect others to understand why we fail to understand when we did it to people. So it's a very dicey, slippery area that we're going to find ourselves. And if you want to know the story of Ahithophel and David, which is popular, but it is often not, we don't look at the details of it, why the man acted in the way. There's always a reason for people getting angry. People, anyone who gets angry for no reason, that person needs to see what, be referred to see a psychiatric doctor. There is always a reason for what, for somebody to be angry, and we have to be curious as to why the anger, and God forbid, the revenge. We have to be curious as to why the anger and what, and the subsequent what, the subsequent revenge that he plotted. Unfortunately, it failed. It didn't work. So curiosity matters. So here it is. We should be curious as to why the anger and revenge and ask, why are you that angry towards me? But it shouldn't lead to revenge. Anger is allowed, number one. But to rest in your bosom for one to carry it over time, it's what? It's dangerous. It's not a good thing. So imagine you being Ahithophel, your granddaughter, your son's daughter, who is the same army with Uriah, with Joab, working for your best friend David, was injured, was killed by what? By your best friend. The plot to kill him was carried out, was systematically schemed out by David. It took his time. He schemed it out. And what happened? He got Uriah killed. So, what will you do if you are Uriah? These are the questions that we should stay with us and what we ask ourselves that question. What will you do if you are Uriah? You find out that your granddaughter, the daughter of your son, was what? Sexually abused, was taken advantage of. Your best friend or one of your closest friend abuses office, power, authority to what? To abuse her sexually and subsequently killed her husband. What will you do? That is a question. That is what? That is before us. And so, what will I do? Certainly, I'm going to blow out the steam. I'm going to be mad. It can never be my friend again. I will say several things. I walk past him. But we must not forget that along the way, we equally have injured people at one point or the other, at one time or the other, in what? In our lives. So when we look at these things and we try to balance it and put away theology completely and just focus on what? On recorded event as to why were these events recorded. Just like the story of Hitler, it's recorded for a purpose. If you have been to Auschwitz in Germany, in Poland, I visited there once, and I kind of said such atrocity must not be allowed to happen again, not in any shape or form. The things were well preserved. That is the purpose of recorded events, even in life, that we may learn from it, prevent it, not make the same mistake. And in this case of Ahithophel, he harbors anger in him to the extent he attempted to kill David. But because he couldn't, he committed suicide. That is a man. So you are not immune. I'm not immune from getting angry. I'm not immune from what? From having bitterness. Nobody's immune from it. So imagine how high he is, a man who give advice. None of his advice he gave to David has ever failed. His advice he gives to David is always spot on. And the advice he gave to Absalom was the best advice so far. You know why? Because he knows the weakness of his friend David. He knows David's present situation, that he is weak. And when he goes after him, he will have that opportunity to what? To kill him. And that is the purpose of it. But the intent of the act is only known by God, not by man. Absalom knows nothing at all as to what is going on. But David knew himself that the advice Ahithophel would give will what? Will be the correct advice. Hence, he prayed, even in his weakness, in his worst time, he prayed, "Oh God, turn the counsel of Ahithophel into what? Into foolishness." That is a man who still prayed and believed that God will answer him in his what? In his lowest moment. He had that belief that he can rest on what? On that unfailing strength that God gives and bear the punishment of what? Of his atrocity. On the other hand, Ahithophel did not trust in the unfailing strength of God for the injury he suffered. So here is someone who caused the injury, still believed in the unfailing strength of God, and the person who is injured that should even believe more did not believe in that unfailing strength of God to bear that injury that was caused to him. But rather, what did he choose to do? He chose to take revenge on what? On David. Again, I'll repeat for emphasis. David is what? He is the one that caused the injury, killed a man, abused his office, his power. He trusted in the unfailing strength that God gives to bear the punishment, the judgment that God placed on him. On the other hand, the man who was injured couldn't. Even though he is a counselor, he's an advisor, he hears from God. Just like David, he advised David, he counseled David. He couldn't believe or accept that unfailing strength from God to bear the injury that was caused to him by David. So, as you can see, recorded event or what is what in the Bible is that we may learn from it and apply this in our daily lives. Challenging, difficult, but not impossible. So, as we go through life, we will be having this possibly every Sunday, God willing, and talk to ourselves. Doesn't matter what religion you belong to. Anger is anger. You can. It doesn't matter. You can be a Muslim. You can be an atheist. You can be. Every one of us have that capacity, that faculty to get angry. Every one of us. Doesn't matter. Again, I repeat. What religion you belong to? What belief you have? We all have that capacity to what? To get angry. But how we go about our anger is why we are here. We will be here every Sunday, God willing, to talk about this and have this conversation, this discussion, to what? To uplift one another and to look unto one person alone. And who is what? Who is Jesus Christ? You may not agree with that, depending on your religion. That is understandable. Who is the author and the finisher of what? Of our faith. And when we continue in this trajectory, in this, hopefully we'll become a better. I want to become a better person. Have I been a better person throughout my life? The answer is no. Am I striving to be a better person? The answer is yes. And so this is applicable to what? To every one of us. Anger is, some people have anger issues, more extreme than the others. But Ahithophel did not display any anger issue. No, he did not display, but he kept it within himself. And maybe sometimes you hear that the most quiet people are the most dangerous people. The most quiet people are what? Are the most dangerous people to deal with. Thank you, Oscar Blackstone, for joining. Yes, you're right. Uncontrolled anger can destroy a person physically and what? And spiritually. So the anger has to be controlled. But how do we control this anger? That is the issue. How do we control this anger? What is the time frame to controlling our anger? Why did Ahithophel allow this anger to fetter in him so long, to stay in him so long? Let me highlight it again. To stay in him so long, waiting for the better opportunity to what? To take revenge on what? on David. What is the time limit for us? What? For anyone, it doesn't matter, any individual, to what? To hold on to anger. That is the question that is before us. I believe some of you already know what is the time limit. It also depends on your geographical location as well, too. As to what? As to the time limit that this anger can stay in you. And if we practice this, imbibe it in us as to and practice this time limit, then we will be able to what? To manage this thing. Listen, it is very challenging. I'm not under that illusion that it's overnight. No, 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 no. No, I am not that. So that is where we are today. The time limit for one to be angry. Oscar Blackstone, if you're there, you know the time limit. Let's take this challenge as to what is exactly the time limit. It's like I said, it also depends on your geographical location. The time limit is physical, please. It's something you and I see, we live through every day. So it's not something we have to go and search for, or we have to turn it into spiritual matter or whatever it is. The time limit has clearly been stated to us. And I mentioned it earlier, but just to help engage the audience or the viewers now and those who will watch later on as to what the time limit is. There's a time limit given. And here it is. Do not let the sun go down on your anger. Now, if you read commentaries, including like I said, I don't do theology. Respectfully to those who do theology, I don't do theology. I just go on the recorded event in the Bible. Do not let the sun go down on your anger. What sun is it? Is this an imaginary sun or the real sun that you and I see? It is the literal sun that you and I see every day. If the matter can be resolved within sunrise and sunset, that the event occur, and we allow it to further on to go on, it brings us to that position where we find ourselves as well as Ahithophel. That is the time limit of how long we can what we can we can. Okay, Oscar Blackstone, you said time limit varies depending on cause of the anger. Why is that? How is that time limit varies? Would you mind to shed some light into this as to why you said time limit varies? I just highlighted. I said earlier that depends on your geographical location. So that the sun rises and the sun sets. It's not everywhere. The sun don't rise and set the same way it's set in the United Kingdom, in the USA, or in Nigeria, or anywhere. The sunrise, but it's the same principle. Also, do not let the sun go down on your anger. So let's say the sun rise in the US 5 a.m. in the morning and set 5 p.m. or rise 9 a.m. and set at 12 noon. And the event occur within this window. Then we are not to allow the sun to go down on the anger. Should the event occur after the sunrise and the sunset, meaning you have a chance up to the sunrise and the sunset of the following day. And if you calculate it very well, it's always going to be within the 24-hour period, plus or minus 24-hour period for one to what? To harbor an anger, to be angry, but where possible, resolve it as soon as possible. And if you need to walk away from that situation, then you have to walk away from it. Nobody's going to hold you, not God will hold you faulty in that manner. But you cannot have a, if not, you will find yourself in the place of Ahithophel, who wants to revenge on injury. He has every right to be angry. Put yourself in his shoe. Somebody killed your son-in-law or your daughter-in-law or your child, stole your money, betrayed you badly, did the worst thing you can ever imagine. And where the law is supposed to work or be applied, the law fails to what? Because there are laws in the land to deal with such things. Not everything can be taken to the law. Should Ahithophel not have taken the matter to the law, to the court, then of course, he should have raised it up in the court of law. Probably David's influence will probably shut it down, given to the fact that he is a king. The judges may be biased in passing judgment, but nevertheless, we must not take laws into our hand. And that is what he did. And there's a clear evidence that what? That he killed a man. An innocent man shed the blood of an innocent person. There's a clear evidence that he abused his power. So the matter should be taken what? To the court as at that time. Or be reported to police as so. This is the evidence that I have. But he took the law into his hand. He wanted to take revenge. We can't go that road. We cannot afford to go that road. And I will emphasize this again. It doesn't matter what religion, what belief, or what faith you have. The faculty to get angry lies in every one of us. It's inbuilt. It's in our DNA. The faculty to get angry is in us. However, how we handle this anger, how we handle the injury caused to us matters a lot. It's God's exclusive right to take revenge. Not my right, not your right. I don't have it. And one of the admonition that I find so mean, so impossible, that I feel that even Christ is not being fair to me or to anyone, is telling me to pray for to love my enemy and pray for those who have used me. Why would you ask me to do that? How fair are you? Well, you see, it's not about the person that injures me or the person that injures you. It's about making you, the injured person, a better person at the end of the day. That's it at the end of the day. The least I can do or the person can do is to ask you for forgiveness. You ain't going to bring the life of the person who is dead back. That's one thing about restitution. You can't bring life back. You can't. Not everything can be restituted. It's impossible. Can David bring back the life of Uriah? No. Can he reverse what he did to Bathsheba? The answer is no. But weirdly, he still married Bathsheba. That is for another day that we will look into as to why he chose to marry Bathsheba, as to why God chose to kill the child, the innocent child, and as to why the same Bathsheba had Solomon and it was God's favorite. It's a crazy thing that we're looking at. But there is a reason for everything that happened. So, again, in rounding up, we understand that what purpose of recorded event in the Bible is that we may learn from it, so that we don't repeat the same mistake. Also, only fools keeps anger alive in their bosom until it incites. They keep it. We are not to keep this anger. We are allowed to get angry. It's scriptural. It's normal. We are allowed to get angry. But keeping this angry Like we have a save, we keep it, and we keep building it up. We keep building it up. The next thing you do is you just put a gun on my head one day and blow my head off, or blow your head off, or kill the person. If we find out, we find out that most deaths, or some deaths, I beg your pardon, are down to revenge, anger. Anger that you did this to me, anger that I did this to you, anger that this and that. Some deaths. So thank you. Oscar Blackburn said, anger can be tampered and controlled, but going away totally takes longer. Of course. I mean, going away totally takes longer, or the memory of it. We need to be very careful in this. Anger can be tampered and controlled, but going away totally takes longer time. It's very dicey. We have to, the memory will be there. We can never forget. I can't forget the injury or hurt caused to me. You can't forget the injury or hurt I caused to you. It's impossible for you to forget, to wipe it away. We're not designed, we're not computer. Our brain is greater, bigger, retain memory than the computer itself, because it is people invented computer. With our brain, we invented the computer. So we don't forget things. As someone once said, forgiveness is not memory loss. We don't forget things. It helps us to be careful with how we deal with the person. It helps us to be a better person. Even those of us who have caused injury to others. Then we realize it. But like I said, and I'll repeat again, some are intentional, some are non-intentional. Not all betrayal, not all trust betrayed or deceit or lies are intentional. I have to be honest with you. Some are not intentional. Unfortunately, that is the truth. And we must not sit in that position of God or to play God to say that, oh, you're intentional. Yes, the injury, the hurt can be taken away. The person has to be, action must be condemned, regardless, intentional or not, that action is condemnable. So we have to look at this. Ahithophel, the purpose of recorded event is what? Is to what? Is that we may learn from it. That's it. And be what? And be a better person towards one another. Like I said, I'm doing my best to be a better person. I hope going forward you'll do a better person, doing your best to be what? Equally a better person as well too. Are we gonna step on each other's toe? The answer is yes. Should we do everything within our best not to step on each other's toe? The answer is yes. So when we weigh it, there's more to the story of Ahithophel and David. But like I said, I want to keep this uh, Sunday service as short as possible. When we have people come on the platform to have this conversation, the purpose is what? Is to encourage, to build each other up, not to condemn. Please. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't matter what religion you belong to. We will be dealing with such issues here on this Sunday service segment that we will be having. And we'll be looking at the real life situation that happens in every religion, regardless of your belief. Every religion. Everyone will agree with it. That is why it's going to be interesting. It's not a Christian or a Muslim thing, or no. A fact of life, things that happens to us. Things what that happened to us. Heartbreak, betrayal of trust, love, sex, everything you can think of. But for the Christian, it is in view of what? Of our eternal salvation. In view of what? Of our eternal salvation. Whatsoever things were written aforetime were written what? For our learning. And sometimes we're in our lowest moment in life. And sometimes we're on the high peak in life. But like I read earlier, in terms of what is contained in the description, which is very important. And I'm going to read it again. While you cultivate your relationship with God, you must not impose it on others. Acting in a way that is inconsistent with what you believe, what I believe, by trying to impose my opinions on others and on other days trying to please them is certainly out of line, as true faith radiates without needing to push. On the flip side, I should consider it fortunate when my behaviors align with my belief. It's a fortunate thing. I'm not an expert in it. It's not by my own power, by my own mind. Yes, I strive to allow my behavior to align with my beliefs. Just like Ahithophel wasn't immune from anger, as wise as he is. Just like David, a friend of God, he was not immune from falling. Which man will say today it can be brought down by a woman? You're lying. That man is lying. That no, the woman that will brought him down has not been born. Fool yourself. Fool yourself. That the woman that will bring you down has not been born. Continue to fool yourself. So we must not go in this trajectory of thinking that we are immune because of our expertise, because of our knowledge, that we are immune from getting to that point of harboring anger and subsequent. And revenge comes in different forms. I don't have to kill somebody before I take a revenge. You don't have to kill somebody before I take a revenge. I don't have to. There are different ways I can revenge you. There are different ways you can revenge me. But the exclusive right to revenge doesn't belong to any human being on earth. So you revenging is doing more harm to yourself. Me revenging you is doing more harm to myself than good. At the end of the day, what do I benefit? What do I benefit from taking revenge? Because you killed my son-in-law and you abused my daughter and I killed your son back? What have I gained? And abuse your granddaughter back? What have I gained? What is my benefit at the end of the day? And this continues and it continues. It extends to children, to family, to generations and generations to come. As such, it becomes so entwined that to now correct it becomes very difficult. It happens in our families. That's the truth, the whole truth. And what? And nothing but the truth. So we will be looking at recorded events and seeing how we can do better. How we can do better. Thank you for joining me this lovely Sunday afternoon. And hopefully, I'll be back again with you next week, Sunday, and every other Sunday where possible as we look at recorded events. Again, I'll repeat for the record if you're joining this podcast, this Sunday service, I am not doing theology, please. I'm not doing theology, and theology would not be entertained. I'm only looking at recorded events as to how it applies to us and as to how we can be that light where possible and be a better person. So we're just having a discussion. We also will not go on the trajectory of condemning anybody or any religion whatsoever, because why? These things we are discussing is about life. Anger, being hungry, being sad, nobody's immune from it. Doesn't matter what you practice, what you believe. We are all, it's in us at the end of the day. So, assistants, I will see you again, hopefully, next week, Sunday. Have a lovely afternoon. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Have you subscribed? Yes, you. Have you subscribed? You. Yeah. Before you go, click. It's free. Click. Just that's it. Have you subscribed? You are laughing. Have you subscribed? Have you subscribed? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, madam. Thank you so much. I can see you. I can see you. We have to get to 100,000 subscribers. This by the end of the year. How are we going to do that if you don't subscribe? Yes, you. Yes, you're about to click off. Why? Have you subscribed? It's free. If you don't, ask your son, ask your daughter how to. Just one click. Thank you. Thank you. I see you. Aha. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.